When we get worried, fearful, or anxious about our pain and our symptoms, it tends to make it worse. And in this video, we will discuss why that is and what you can do about it. If this is your first time here, my name is Andreas and I'm the founder of mindbodyconnection.org. We help high-performing professionals get out of chronic pain and IBS by using clinical hypnotherapy and neural circuit retraining. So let's get straight into it. Why does fear and worry make pain worse? To understand the pain-fear cycle, we first need to understand how the brain processes threat. You see, the brain has one main function, and that is to protect you, to keep you safe, to keep you healthy, and to keep you alive. It constantly scans for danger and has to decide whether or not something needs your attention. And what's important here is that the brain does not differentiate between physical and emotional threats. From a neural perspective, as in the brain, it doesn't matter whether something is physical or if it's emotional or if it's abstract. Danger is danger, and threats are threats to the brain. When researchers look at brain scans, they see that physical pain and emotional pain activate overlapping areas in the brain. Areas in the brain related to stress, threat detection, and pain processing are activated. And it doesn't matter if the perceived threat comes from a physical injury or if it comes from more of an emotional event like rejection or loss or social exclusion. In one famous study, researchers did two things. First, they showed people pictures of a former romantic partner who had rejected them. And later, they applied a painful stimulus to their skin, like heat, getting close to getting a burn, but not quite, just enough that it was painful. And they did brain scans during both situations. And they found that the same areas of the brain related to pain was lit up. So that shows us that the brain doesn't really differentiate between physical pain and emotional pain. They're processed largely the same. So from the brain's point of view, physical threat and emotional threat is the same thing, and it's processed through the same alarm system in the brain. Fear plays a powerful role in this system. And you see, all pain you experience is created by the brain. Even though it comes from an actual injury or an illness, it's not like the nerve signals go straight from the place where you have an injury and just turns into pain. No, it actually is transported into the brain, and the brain will interpret, is this dangerous? Is this safe? Is this important? Does it need your attention? And if it is dangerous and if it needs your attention, the brain will switch on the pain to alert you to the problem. And this is how pain works. I usually tell the story about being chased by a lion, right? And if you get chased by a lion and you roll your ankle, you'll probably feel no pain because the brain prioritizes that it would rather run with a rolled ankle than to get eaten by a lion. But if you're just out for a nice jog on a Sunday morning, and if you roll your ankle then, the brain will think that, well, if I keep running on this ankle, I might really injure myself badly and perhaps ruin my ankle forever. So then it will switch on the pain immediately to stop you from running. So all kinds of pain are interpreted by the brain and then switched on or switched off. And fear plays a powerful role in this system because fear tells your brain that whatever's going on right now, it's at least important, but it might be dangerous. So when you experience some sort of pain or symptom and you have a fearful response, the brain will turn up the alarm system. It will become more vigilant to whatever is going on. And when pain is present and you now feel the fear and the worry and the anxiety, the brain might decide to switch up the pain to really get your attention to what's going on. And this is why pain and symptoms tend to get stronger when you try to fight it or you try to resist it or you just get really scared about what's going on. And this is what we call the pain-fear cycle. The pain-fear cycle happens when pain shows up, you have a fearful response, and the brain turns on even more pain, and then you experience even more fear. And now you have a vicious cycle of pain and fear. And over time, we say that neurons that fire together, wire together, which is a fancy way of saying that whatever the brain experiences, it will habitually learn. Meaning that pain can actually be a learned response in the brain, even when there's no injury or illness present. So the original trigger might be an injury or an illness or an emotional event even. But what keeps the pain going is this habituated pain-fear cycle, turning pain into a habit in the brain. And because emotional pain activates the same neural circuits as physical pain, then it doesn't require an injury or a disease to be present for pain to arise. And this is what we call neuroplastic pain. All of this also explains why reducing fear will reduce pain. So when we instill a sense of safety into the brain and into the nervous system, then the need to signal danger to get your attention is reduced. And then there are no more reason for the brain to produce pain. And then symptoms appear to reduce or even disappear. So the pain doesn't go away because it's fought or suppressed, but rather that you allow the brain to update its predictive model of what's going on. You see, when the brain has learned pain as a neural circuit habit, then its ongoing prediction is that pain will always show up, because the brain is a prediction machine. So what we do when we instill safety is that we update the brain's predictive model, and now it can predict safety instead of danger, and then pain subsides by itself. Now that we understand how the pain-fear cycle works, we can talk about what to do about it and how to get out of it. So how do we instill the sense of safety into the brain and into the nervous system? Well, we need to practice thinking, feeling, and acting like we are safe. So whenever pain and symptoms appear, we need to have a bit of a nonchalant approach to it. Like, it's okay. Like, it's all good. It doesn't matter if the pain is there or if it's not. And when you have this nonchalant attitude, if you don't really care if the pain shows up or if it doesn't, well, then that teaches the brain that it's not worth your attention. There's no danger here. But before we can just go around and act like everything is totally fine, you need to build some certainty that you're actually fine, right? The first stop you need to do is go get a medical assessment. Check your symptoms out. And perhaps you'll get an answer, and perhaps you won't. A lot of people with chronic pain and with IBS and with headaches, fatigue, they go get checked out and they receive no answers back, no clear explanations as to why they have pain or why they have other symptoms. But that can actually be a good thing, because that is what we look for when we look at neuroplastic pain. Since neuroplastic pain is produced by neural circuits in the brain, it doesn't require any physical or structural damage to the body. So first, go get checked out and rule out any injuries or illnesses. The second part of building certainty is to check whether or not your symptoms fit the characteristics of neuroplastic pain and neuroplastic symptoms. So we have created a free assessment you can take. You can find it in the description or by using the QR code. And you'll just answer a list of questions, and at the end, you will have an indication as to whether or not your pain is neuroplastic. So that's the second step. First step, rule out physical injury or disease. The second step is to rule in neuroplastic symptoms. So when you have ruled out that you have any physical injuries or diseases that needs medical attention, and you have ruled in neuroplastic symptoms, now you have built the case, okay? And the case is that you are completely fine. You're okay. And now, when symptoms show up, you can simply tell yourself, this is my brain kind of playing tricks on me. And I know that I'm actually okay and I'm fine. And when you do this, when symptoms show up, you slowly break the pain-fear cycle. Because when symptoms and pain and fear show up, you'll be able to just let it burn out and you say to yourself, I'm okay, I'm good. And you might notice that your pain and symptoms start to subside. So the first steps for anyone looking to get out of chronic pain, tension headaches, IBS, and other neuroplastic symptoms is to first build certainty that there's no physical injury, illness, or damage that you need to address. And second, build certainty that it's actually neural circuits in the brain that are causing your symptoms. So remember to check out the neuroplastic pain assessment in the description. In there, you'll also find a link to work with us directly if you feel like the time is right. That's everything from me today. Wishing you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.